Hello, everyone, and welcome to Manifestation Moments. I am your host, Alyssa Threadgill. I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Feel free to check out my previous 2 episodes in the description box. I'm super excited to introduce you to my guest today. She's an experienced radio personality, television producer, comedian, and writer. She has worked for dozens of professional media companies like Radio 1, TMZ, Animal Planet, TLC, NBC, and so many more. Please welcome Cristal Bubblin. All right. Well, Cristal, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. My first question for you was, I was wondering, what was your dream career when you were little, and how have you exceeded that goal as an adult?
So my dream career when I was little was a McDonald's cashier. Like every kid wanted to be a McDonald's cashier. Like, oh my God. But yeah, like I was a kid, whatever. But I guess when we'll go from when I turned like in high school, right? So I wanted to be a radio personality, honestly. And I heard Angie Martinez. I remember the moment I heard Angie Martinez interviewing Method Man, and I was like, and no disrespect to Angie because she is the queen. She's the top tier. And I was like, I could do that, but I could do that better because the thing about it was like, you know, in the 90s, well, the 80s and the 90s, because hip hop started primarily on the East Coast, so all the friends and all the DJs and the artists were friends, so they would never like ask like the tough questions. You know, it was always, are you dating somebody or what's next and blah blah blah. But it was never like the questions that like the listeners, the fans really wanted to know certain stuff, you know? So I was like, I could do that, but I could do it better. So I immediately decided that my major was going to be communications and broadcast productions. And my freshman year, because I had to transfer into North Carolina A&T, and so I was behind in some credits, I took a 1-credit practicum, which was like an internship, but internships were like 3 credits, so they called it a practicum at the local commercial radio station 102 Jam, and then we just went from there.
Yeah.
I worked in radio for about 15 years, and then the last station I was at, Flip Format, and I was kind of over it because there were just like changes in the whole game, and it wasn't fun for me anymore. Like they were really taking the personalities out of radio, and because of the PPM, the personal people meter, and I was like, well, we're gonna move on, and then I started doing like PA work, production assistant work, and I was in Texas. And then I eventually made my way out to LA, and so here we are.
Yeah, that's interesting because my whole goal with whatever I end up doing, it needs to be something where it doesn't feel like a job, if that makes sense. I want to be able to get up and be excited to have a new task for the day. And like I have a job, but it's my high school job. I work as a grocery store cashier.
Right.
Not for me. I don't like it, but it's just what I'm doing right now. So,
well, you have to, especially in any facet of entertainment, right?
Yeah.
You have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. I mean, when I used to do middays in Fayetteville. Okay. And the FAFSA people caught up with me. So my paycheck was being garnished. So not only was I would do middays, and then I would either get off of work and go be a waitress at Applebee's, or I was an assistant at a salon called Nubian Naturals. Like, and then I would get up the next day and do it all over again. Like I was a midday personality on the Heritage Station in the Market. But on a Friday, you can definitely see me slinging drinks at Applebee's. So like, you kind of just have to do what you have to do. Like, I'm working on my acting career, and I'm in that situation now. Like 2 weeks ago, I booked something that shot in New York, flew to New York, shot it, came back to Ubering. So
wow.
Actually, the weekend I came back, I was recognized for the first time. I host a show called Black People Don't Do Improv on Kev on Stage Studios. And I was actually dropping off a Uber Eats delivery. And as I'm getting in my car to pull off, a guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, is your name Cristal? Because my friend is a big fan of the work you do with Kev on Stage Studios." And I was like, "What?"
That's so cool.
It was one of those things that made my day, because even the night before, I had just talked to my friend and I was like crying and breaking down, and I was just like, I'm not booking. I guess I'm just an Uber driver. Like, I guess this is just it. Like, I might as well just give the hell up. You know what I mean? And because a woman I know got booked on one of the shows I really, really, really have been campaigning to at least audition for. So I was like, kind of. Well, I'm happy she got it. I'm happy for her, but it did feel like a kick in the chest. And so when the young lady was like, "Oh, I love your show. Can we take a picture?" I was like, "Would you want to take a picture with me? I want to take a picture with you." Like,
aww.
So you just keep going,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you about Black Women Radio, because I'm an intern for them.
Okay.
And I wanted to know what does being a member of that community mean to you and your career, and being with other media professionals that happen to be Black women? It's a nice community. How has that been for you?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so amazing. And I'm so grateful for Black women in radio, because a lot of times, Black women, we don't get the support. We don't get the support the guys get. We don't get the support we need. And we're often, especially in radio, we're pitted against each other. Like when I worked in Houston, I was doing the morning show. And I didn't find out until basically like after we flipped format. But the main reason I got the job was because the woman who was on the morning show on the competitor station was a Black woman. And so they wanted us to bicker and go back and forth. And, and what was so crazy is I have a cousin who lives in Houston that I met when I moved there. I didn't meet until I moved there. And my family was like, "Oh, you got this cousin," or whatever. And my cousin is the woman, my competitor's sorority sister. So me and this woman actually met like the first week I had moved to Houston. It was like around the New Year, and my cousin always has like a day after the New Year party. So I was there, fresh, new to Texas. Me and my competitor at the party, and my cousin, we happened to be in the kitchen at the same time. My cousin says, "Oh, Crystal just moved here and she's going to be doing mornings on that station. And, she does mornings on the other station." And it was like, I was like, But, the thing was, and then later on in life, after I moved here, she actually wound up moving out to LA too. And we definitely have mutual friends from, radio. We were hanging out, and I was like, I was hired to beef with you, right? And she was like, "I did not know that." And and she was like, "But at her station, they would try to plant little seeds for her to bicker, for us to start some, I don't know, on-air war." But the way I was taught coming up in radio is just, you never mention a competition, regardless. You just do your thing.
Right.
And now that woman and I are like, we're super cool. We're good friends. You know what I mean? But so I deviated a little bit, but with Black women in radio, the wonderful thing is that we are able to connect with other Black women in the business. We are able to celebrate each other, and we're able to support each other when we need support, or comfort each other when we need comforting. Whereas, years ago, it was like, oh yeah, I heard the name, like, I don't know, Vanyetta, you know what I mean? But I don't know her, blah, blah, blah. So, but I do know Vanyetta, but, so it's wonderful in that I feel like it brings us closer. And, it's the thing of too, like, you can have an easier time finding somebody to talk to about certain things. Like, oftentimes we never talk about salaries, we never talk about work responsibilities. All we know is like, hey, we got offered this position at this station in this market, and this is going to be great. But, with Black women in radio, you can say like, hey, Felicia, you worked in this market. What's up with that? And, get that feedback. So I think it's a wonderful thing. It's been a wonderful community for me.
Amazing. Well, my last question for you was, how has social media, I know you're big on social media, I've seen some of your videos.
Thank you.
How has that helped you create a platform for your brand and your personality?
I think I'm still working on that. You know what I mean? Because I'm
Fair.
like, there are people that are very like, they have their niche, they have their thing. You know what I mean? And I guess my thing would be like more stream of consciousness. So I feel like the way social media has helped me is that I'm able to be creative without getting anyone's permission.
I like that.
So, it's like the whole like Issa Rae thing, she was writing and shopping, nothing, fine, I'll do awkward Black girl myself and I'll put it on YouTube, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I think that's a wonderful thing about social media, especially for Black people, especially for people of color, is you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait on anybody. You don't have to get anybody's approval. You can literally green light yourself, which is like what Kev on Stage is doing. And I feel like, yeah, that's how it's helped me. Like when I'm creative and I got an idea, I can just put it together, shoot it, put it up there, and you definitely get instant feedback. And then too, especially with the pandemic, the lockdown during the pandemic, like I'm a person that deals with depression and anxiety. I'm also kind of very introverted. So
surprising to hear.
Well, I'm an only child, so it's weird because I'm a ham, but also like I have a window. Like I have a good 3 hours of people, and then I need to be alone. Like I need to be out of here. So it's just like, and with social media, it was a cheat code for me because I could talk to everybody without being around anybody. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think people aren't cognizant of it, but I think that honestly, like social media really saved a lot of us.
Yeah.
During the lockdown, especially because we were just cut off from each other, and it wasn't a step down. It was just one day we were all hanging out having a good time, and the next day can't see anybody for 2 years. Like. So yeah, I think that's how it's helped me.
Awesome. Well, I was going to ask you to wrap things up. What kinds of content can we expect to see from you towards maybe the end of this year or going into 2023? Anything in the works? What are you excited about for the future?
Well, I'm very excited about, my work with Kev on Stage Studio. So currently we're in, I believe it's the 4th season. Okay. Might be the 3rd, might be the 4th season. Black People Don't Do Improv, and that's streaming new episodes every Thursday, as well as Kevin did his first scripted show, Churchy, and I play Deaconess Francine in that, and that's airing now. I think new episodes of that are every Saturday. And other than that, I'm just working on a new sketch comedy show that'll start earlier in the new year. Okay. And other than that, we're just auditioning and doing our best. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, like Mariah said.
What else can we do?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, thank you, Cristal.
Well, thank you. It was wonderful talking to you.
Yes, and for everyone watching, make sure to follow Cristal on her social media platforms and show her some love, some positivity. And yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you, Cristal.
Thank you. Y'all have a great week.
Mm-hmm.